Welcome to the podcast. It's the magical holidays. Time for Joe watching 60 Christmas movies in 60 days. Why, you might ask? Because it sounds like a crazy task to be watching 60 Christmas movies in 60 days. It'll be struggle, no I won't lie. By the halfway point I will lose my mind, but with your support I'm gonna be fine. So let's have a blast on this Christmas time. Join me now and let's find out about today's Christmas movie. Was it good or bad? Happy or sad? Is there another dead mom and dad? Let's get to it with no delay. It's your old pal Joe and he's happy to say welcome to Joe watches 60 Christmas movies in 60 days.
How's it going, everybody? It's me, your old pal Joe, and welcome to episode 31 of Joe Watches 60 Christmas Movies in 60 Days. It's been a while, but I've been keeping up watching my movies. I just haven't been making my way out to the podcast patio to record these podcasts. It makes me feel really bad on the inside, so I'm going to spend the day recording a bunch of podcasts about movies I've already watched in hopes of reclaiming some of the momentum that I had through the first half of this journey. I'm sorry if I disappointed anybody with no podcast for a while. But I am doing my best. It's a hard journey. This is part of the problem. But the challenge of doing podcasts is also part of the whole process. You'd think it would be the movies, but it's not. It's all of them. It's every part of it. Anyway, let's talk about our good friends over at Third Eye Comics. Third Eye Comics, your home for graphic novels, gaming, music, and movies and more. Anything you can think of in the pop culture landscape, Third Eye Comics can have you covered. You can visit one of their physical locations in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, or you can visit them online at shop.thirdeyecomics.com. Please do so. Please buy something that makes your heart fill with purchasing joy, because what am I saying? Let's support them because they supported me. That sounds like a good way to wrap up our sponsor portion of the episode. Let's move on to the episode itself. We're talking about a movie today, A Very Merry Toy Store. Not Christmas, Toy Store. This is a movie starring people that were in Christmas, Holidays in Handcuffs. If you can remember that really not good movie. I was going to say I watched it, but it's a famously not good movie, starring Melissa Joan Hart and what's his name, old Mario Lopez. Well, this reunites them for a new adventure, A Very Merry Toy Store. We open with our main character, Connie Forrester, played by, Melissa Joan Hart, opening up the Forrester Toy Store for the day. We then see, mere feet away, next door, well, it's not next door, it's down the block, a second toy store. We see Will DeNova, played by Mario Lopez, opening up his competing toy store, DeNova Toys. Connie goes out to clean the front window at the same time Will does his store. They give each other nasty looks as they clean. We head inside and join Connie answering a phone call about a new doll that's not yet out. She assures the customer that DeNova Toys would tell them the same thing about whether it's available yet or not. The customer wants to make sure and asks for the number. Cut to Will DeNova getting that call and answering the same. I'm not sure what this proves other than that they're not liars. I guess that's important to know. We then enjoy Connie showing off a drone toy to a little girl. She lets her pilot it through the store. This girl appears in this movie no shortage of 4 times, each time piloting the same drone in the store. One of the times we see her, it's a very sad moment when she explains that her family can't get any Christmas gifts that year. So the last time we see her, old Connie gives her the drone for free. That wraps up that subplot. We then see a customer go into Will's store and ask about a specific skateboard, the Hurricane. Will says they don't have that one, but they do have a similar one, the Thrasher. The customer says he really wants the Hurricane, though. Will offers to call Connie's store, but tells the customer to make sure they buy a good helmet for their kid because of the recall and all. What recall? And he explains, oh, nothing. It's just, kids are getting hurt riding that skateboard. The wheels just fly off. So he's lying to the customer, which totally upends the earlier scene where we saw the customer call him for confirmation about when a doll comes out. And he's lying to them to get them to buy the skateboard he does have as opposed to the skateboard he doesn't. We get a montage of Connie offering a good gift advice to different people. She is a toy savant. She not only knows which gift to get somebody, but she knows the history of toys to an obscene degree. It doesn't really come up throughout the movie. It's not like it saves the day, her trivia knowledge of toys, when they came out, and who they're good for. But it's just shown every once in a while, and you're just like, why is this supposed to be a bigger part of the movie? We then get Connie's mom stopping by with Connie's son. They make plans to get takeout for dinner. Connie notes they have to be mindful. They're on a budget. Jump over to the diner where they'll be getting their takeout, and we meet Joe, who runs the diner. Not me. I'm not in this movie as playing myself as a guy who runs the diner. Connie's mom comes in and places her order, and we immediately get the impression that Connie's mom and Joe that runs the diner, not me, will be paired up soon enough. He even throws in some complimentary pieces of pecan pie. He also asks if Connie's mom is still giving piano lessons. She is. He says he'd like to start them because his daughter, or maybe it's his niece, is getting married in 6 weeks, and he'd like to play the wedding march for her. Connie's mom says it'll be tough, but it's possible. They make plans for lessons. We join the family as they have dinner. We find out more about Connie's money situation. She's hoping the bank will move back an upcoming loan payment that's due. We see Connie's kid catch a commercial for a new toy store, Roy's Toys. Connie assures her son that it's no big deal as there are no Roy's Toys in their area. Jump over to Will DeNova, that's again played by Mario Lopez, as he talks to a realtor about buying a house he's already owned. He sold it as part of a divorce and, needs it back. It was his family home. The real estate agent, who is also the town mayor, says that he's going to need $80,000 to lock the house in. Will acts as if that's a tough number to meet, but he'll do his best. We then get a scene with Connie's brother, who works at the toy store playing Santa for kids. A grown woman jumps in his lap because she's interested in him, but he gets her to leave. Let's fast forward this subplot as well. This is a weird subplot. It does not seem to be very conscientious of today's what's accepted today, but basically her brother is an idiot in this movie. Her brother plays a complete buffoon. It's never funny, but he makes appearances throughout this movie as an idiot who works at the toy store that Connie runs. There's also a woman that is obsessed with him. This makes no sense. It does not appear to move any of the plots forward. She appears, I think, 3 or 4 times, each time trying to get him in some way. Like in this case, she sits in his lap. In another case, she follows him around the holiday market as he gets different items. Like, I wanted a snack, I wanted some hot cocoa, hot cider, whatever. And she follows him around. At one point, he bites a cupcake that's on display for sale. Now, he should not have done that. That's rude. And she comes up behind him and bites the same spot where he bought a bit because that's what she's into. This all culminates. There's another subplot that I'll bring up where there's a shoplifter. Turns out it's her. Well, she's the shoplifter because she wanted his attention. And at the end, he's like, "Why? Why did you want my attention?" And she just gives him a big kiss, and then they're a couple for the rest of the movie, which is not much longer, but it didn't really make sense. It didn't really seem kosher, but that subplot is now wrapped up. If I mention it again, it is by accident only. Next up, we get a scene with Connie and her brother. We get a bit of a lesson between Connie's mom and Joe from the diner. Again, not me. Scene with Connie and her brother talking about the shoplifter they have. They decide to get a security camera to catch them. They're at a store when they're talking about this, and she runs into Will DeNova, who, once he sees her, pretends to be talking to someone on the phone about how great his sales are. There's a TV in the store, and they both catch a segment on the news announcing that Roy's Toys is actually coming to the area and opening a store. Cut to them complaining to the real estate agent / mayor. How did he not tell them? Turns out that he didn't know either. When the mayor explains that he can't do anything to stop the opening, Connie gets an idea. She and her brother head to the library where she finds something. Cut to Roy from Roy's Toys filming a commercial. He complains about one of the kids being creepy and demanding he be replaced. This is so we know he's not a good guy. Then a woman comes up and says there's a problem with the new store opening. It seems Connie found a county ordinance from 1946 that prevents a business opening beyond a certain size. He tells the woman that he needs his lawyers on the phone immediately. Basically, there's an ordinance that says you cannot open a business that's a certain size. Granted, he's opening it in a space that was a certain size before, but they're going to explain that away as it was a Walmart, and basically they were just too popular or too big to fight. but his store is small enough that they can actually enforce the ordinance. Cut to the mayor giving Connie an update on this ordinance. Roy has filed an appeal and the town council will vote on it. There's a good chance he'll lose, but the vote isn't until Christmas Eve, and he can keep the store open until then. Connie freaks out, and then she gets a call from Will DeNova. Cut to the meeting at Joe's Diner. Again, not me. We get a bit of their feuding history. Connie's dad resented Will's uncle for their competing stores. We'll learn more about this later. But Will has an offer. They should team up to keep both their stores open for the next 2 weeks. They can pool their resources until the council rejects Roy's toys. Connie hesitates and says she'll have to think about it. She seems to do it more just to egg him on than to think that she really doesn't know what to do. Cut to her calling her mom to see what she should do. Her mom does the thing where she offers support, but basically just like, oh, you'll do fine. I'm not going to actually give you any advice on what decision to make. I'm just going to say you'll make the right decision. She calls Will and says she's in. Cut to Will and Connie talking to their employees. They're in a merged meeting. They're going to be pooling their profits, their stock, their resources, and their marketing plan. The employees take it better than they expect. It seems the feud only exists between them. We then join Joe from the diner getting a piano lesson from Connie's mom. They take a break and we learn even more about the feuding history between the Forrester and DeNova families. So basically, way back in the day, there were two guys that were pals and they opened a store. That'd be like Connie's granddad and Will's granddad. But the problem was that only one of them, no, it wasn't granddad, it was their dads. It doesn't matter. Anyway, one of them had more money than the other, and that'd be Connie's dad. So he put in more money to start the business, which is all fine and all. Except that the other guy, the DeNova guy, he thought he wasn't getting enough credit for the business being a success. So he bailed out of the business and started his own toy store, which started the feud. Now, the feud definitely seemed to be more on Connie's dad's end than on the DeNova end. But that's neither here nor there because it doesn't really matter that much. At some point, both Will and Connie show up to help tell this story, and we find out that Connie's kid's going to be in some sort of bobsled race, and Will offers to give him some tips on how to compete because he competed in a similar one when he was a kid. Jump ahead to the Roy's Toys grand opening. No one is there. The assistant tells Roy it's because of the joining up between the other two stores, and they're offering a free pancake breakfast that morning. Cut to a packed Forrester Toys. But then Roy shows up from Roy's Toys. He's very gracious and throws Connie off. He also hears Will talking to Connie's kid about the kid he's afraid he'll lose to in the bobsled race, and this gives Roy an idea. So Roy from Roy Toys is there at this special pancake breakfast, and he sees Will DeNova from the other store also there. And Will's talking to Connie's son like, hey, here's some tips. You want to do this when this is happening in the race. You want to do this when this is happening in the race. And Connie's son's like, yeah, but I'm scared of, like, say, Johnny. He's going to have the best bobsled. And once Roy, a grown adult from Roy's Toys, hears this, he gets an idea. Cut to Will helping Connie's kid build a bobsled. Connie walks in with a newspaper. It has a story announcing Roy is sponsoring this other kid in the race. Will says he's doing it just to get to us. It makes him want to help Connie's son even more. This doesn't make any... He's a grown adult and he's just sponsoring a kid in a race. To what end? And what does that even mean? The kid just gets some money? Because it's not like he's giving him, I don't know, some sort of college fund. It's just, here, I'm going to sponsor your child in a race to raise awareness of my toy store, which has multiple locations throughout the area. Over at Connie's, she gets a call from a friend who says there's a limited run in this new doll that they're waiting for. It's basically like a Disney princess-style doll that's coming out. Anyway, it looks like because of this limited run, the orders that came in first are going to be fulfilled, which means that Will, DeNova, and Connie, their stores are going to get their dolls, but Roy's Toys, since they got their orders in later, I guess, he's not going to get his dolls. This makes Connie very happy. But then we cut to Roy meeting with a guy in a gas station. At this point, Connie's dumb brother drives past and yells something at him. It doesn't matter what he yells. It's not funny. I'm not going to even acknowledge it. The next day, Connie wants to check the security cam footage because there was another theft, but it looks like her brother installed it the wrong way and it was facing outside of the store instead of inside. In other words, it was facing the gas station across the street. But before we can delve down this pathway even further, Connie gets a call. The dolls are going to Roy's after all. It looks like he forged some paperwork to say he got it in his orders before Will and Connie did. Connie has an idea. Cut to her calling. This is so stupid. I thought her idea was going to be check the security camera footage. Nope. That doesn't come into play until the end of the movie. Instead, her idea is the following. Her and Will pretend to be from the shipping company and call the truck driver delivering the dolls to Roy's Toys. She tells him that she's going to the wrong address. She's putting on a voice like, "Hello, breaker, you're going to the wrong address. You want to deliver it here instead of there." And the guy on the phone, on the radio, is like, "Oh, really? Oh, my God, I'm so sorry." He goes, "If you don't hurry it over there in the next 10 minutes, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get fired." And the guy races to Connie's store. When the guy gets there, they make up even more lies, even though they're not necessary, and then they unload all the dolls. They then transfer the dolls to their truck and head off with their newfound merchandise. Cut to Connie dropping Will off at home. They talk about how much fun they had. Cut to the next morning. No one is at the store to get the dolls. Why? They find out the singer of the song from the movie that the doll is from, again, it's like a Disney princess style doll, is actually performing at Roy's store. So they have the dolls, but Roy has hundreds of people there. Now, this doesn't make any sense because they were pre-selling a lot of these dolls. You saw it earlier in the movie. Not you, me. I saw it earlier in the movie. And the woman would be like, do you have the whatever doll it is again, like the Princess Caroline doll? Do you have the Princess Caroline doll? And she says, no, it comes out on the 12th, but if you pre-order it, we can guarantee you'll get one. So they already have that money. And then they get the stock, too. But yet everybody's at Roy's Toys to see a performance. Well, yeah, that's great. That's a celebrity. Yeah, that's wonderful. But guess what? It isn't making him any money. These people are still going to want the doll. They might want the doll even more because of the performance. So it doesn't make any sense that this is an impediment to them. And even they at one point say it's going to cause a delay in us getting our funds. Yeah, but you're still going to get them. Anyway, cut to Connie going to the bank to ask if they can delay her payment. The banker agrees immediately. She's surprised. The guy's like, "Well, you're a good client of ours. If I can help, I will." Cut to Will and Connie's kid working on his bobsled. Not that it's their kid collectively. What I mean by that is Will and Connie's kid working on the bobsled. Will has a greasing concoction he used as a kid when bobsledding, and he's showing it to the kid. Connie's mom shows up to ask Will to stay for dinner. It's an awkward moment for Connie and Will, but Connie goes with it. Everyone has a nice time at dinner. Eventually, Connie sees Will off. They talk about their shared joy of selling toys. This is when she displays a bit of her encyclopedic memory about toys. He asks if she's seen anyone since she lost her husband. We find out that she's a widow. She doesn't answer. He leaves. It's time for the bobsled race. Roy is there and shit talks Connie about how there can only be one winner. Then we get the green screeniest of green screens that has ever screened green during this race, where these kids are racing down a hill. It's terrible. And basically it's the two kids, Connie's kid and the other kid, jockeying for the lead position. Eventually, non-Connie's son kid starts ramming into Connie's son's bobsled. Then Connie's son pulls up so that he's going slower suddenly, which causes the other kid to crash into a giant snowbank and I believe flip his whole vehicle, and he could probably be very hurt. Anyway, Connie's son wins. Everyone sans Roy from Roy's Toys cheers. Afterward, Roy congratulates Connie, but she doesn't believe it's genuine. Suddenly, we're at a Christmas fair of some sort. All of the characters are there having a good time. Connie asks Will to dance. We then get a scene where that's the woman who's obsessed with Connie's brother. Skip ahead. We get a bit with Joe from the diner, not me, chatting with Connie's mom. He asks her to dance. We then join in on Connie and Will's dance. She admits she hasn't dated anyone. She talks about how hard it is. He's very empathetic. They decide to go for a walk. On the walk, she thanks him for everything Will has done, not just for helping her with her son, but also coming up with an idea to merge the stores. They go back and forth, and before you know it, they kiss. They actually kiss, and there's still 20 minutes left in the movie. This is the second movie within the short time span, recent time span, where people are kissing much sooner than you'd expect. We jump between different characters doing things over the coming days, like Joe getting more piano lessons, not me, and Connie and Will selling toys. We see Will put a gift in Connie's stocking. Cut to Will checking out the house he wants to buy again. He still doesn't have enough money, and the mayor/real estate agent says that maybe if what you have with Connie is real, maybe you don't need to buy the house that you were married in. Will doesn't want to hear it. He's going to buy this house. We cut to Will and Connie cuddling while watching TV. They see a commercial for Roy's Toys. He's running an 80% off sale, and it's only at the store in their area. Connie has a plan. She drives to the headquarters of Roy's Toys and sneaks in. She barges into a meeting Roy is having. She wants him out of the town. This was her plan, apparently. She wants him out of the town. He offers her a manager role at his new store. She says no to him very rudely. Back to Connie at the store. She gets a call from her banker. It seems Roy's Toys has pulled some strings and is now her loan is no longer pushed back. She needs to have it paid back by Christmas Eve. We jump to Connie, or she'll lose the store. We jump to Connie meeting with Will. She's very sad. He tells her that he's closing his store because he's accepted the job offer from Roy's Toys. He'll be the manager of the new store. He says he wants to buy that house. He even tells her, I need that house. Connie is furious and storms off. Cut to Connie walking around her closed toy store, very sad. We jump into a new day. There's a going out of business sale on the wall of Connie's store. It's Christmas Eve, suddenly, and we're at the town council meeting in progress. Connie is giving a big speech about why it's important to keep such big stores out of the town. Time for a vote. There are 3 voters. They write down their choices. First note, nay, as in he can't stay. Second vote is yay, he can stay. Third vote is yay, he can stay. Now, there was a thing here where the mayor, his brother-in-law, is a vote of the 3. It's one of the 3 votes. And he thought, well, there's no way he's going to vote alongside of him because I don't want him to. But in this case, he has voted to keep Roy's Toys in town. Nobody expects this, except it seems like Roy's Toys himself. But then Connie's brother notes that one of the 3 voters, the guy that I was just talking about, he was the one that was meeting with Roy's Toys in that gas station parking lot earlier. Maybe he bribed him. Will hears this and decides to tell Roy that he doesn't want the manager job anyway. Later, Will and Connie reconcile. She appreciates him not taking the job. He admits he also doesn't have the money he saved up either because he paid her loan off. He's not going to buy that house after all. Connie is so appreciative, she gives Will DeNova a big hug. Cut to Connie's mom arriving at Joe's house. This is the first time we've seen Joe's house, not me. She's there to return his payment for the piano lesson. She feels bad because he hasn't made much progress, and he admits that he lied about the wedding. He lied about wanting piano lessons. He really just wanted to spend time with her. She's touched. Back at the office, Connie notices the security camera and remembers they got footage from the gas station from that one night. They find evidence Roy met with the guy from the town council, the mayor's brother-in-law. Cut to them showing everyone in the mayor's office. Roy storms out. Everyone cheers. Cut to a new sign for the toy store, Forrester and DeNova Toys. We jump inside this new store and find Connie and Will are getting married. And without anything on the screen telling us, we find out through discussion that it's a year later. How do we know it's been a year later? Because they mentioned that Connie and Joe, not me, got married earlier that year. Anyway, Will and Connie kiss, and then the movie just sort of ends. The end on a very merry toy store. Did not care for this movie. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever watched. It wasn't the worst movie I've watched this year. But it was not much to me at all. Do not recommend. Who's the MVP of this movie? I'm going to go with Joe, not me, but he was fun to watch. He was a haggard old guy who just wants to spend time with this lady that he finds interesting. And I really liked that performance. So good time, Joe, not me, in this movie. Thanks for listening to me talk about a movie that I didn't care for. I appreciate you sticking with the podcast, if indeed you are sticking with the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to me on social media at JOEMOC, on Twitter, Instagram, and other places indeed. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Enjoy some Jingle Bells, old time's sake.